Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
What is going on, guys? And once again, it's another review with Dan the Man Reviews, and we are talking about Pixar's latest film, Onward. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily this is a review, kind of, but I think we're at the point where people have either seen it or have not. So it's more of a discussion, and the discussion is that this is definitely, in my opinion, one of Pixar's best films they've made. Now, this is another scenario like Coco. When I saw the trailer to Coco and all the advertisements, it took me a while to even watch that film because to me, it just didn't interest me. But then when I sat my ass down and watched the whole movie, I was like blown away on how great the music was, the story. This is the same with Onward. Onward, I do not like magic. I don't like magic. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I know a lot of people who do. I don't do any. I don't like magic. I'm just not a magic guy. It took me a while to get into like fairy tale and stuff and all that stuff. And Harry Potter, been there, done that. Not my thing. But with Onward, the world they build is so just so amazing and just very entertaining. And this film really, you'll get everybody who's seen this film, you'll get the same response. This is a film that will really make you either teary-eyed, make you cry, or just hit you in the heart at the end of this film. But you know what? Throughout the journey, that's what it's all about. Yes, this film it's a quest story, right? With the two brothers, Ian and Barley, trying to fix their mistake of not fully doing the enchantment or spell right. They only have like half the body of their dad, and that's the legs, and that's the feet, and that's those ugly purple socks. But you've seen this kind of film before. You've seen this done a million times, but I always say, you can only do so much when it comes to storytelling. And if you're going to do it, make sure you do it right. Make sure you have imagination. Make sure, you just are able to say something. And this film does that. I think it's really, really sad to see that this film didn't make the money it did when it was out. I mean, of course, a lot of things happened throughout that premiere. But it made about less than The Good Dinosaur, I believe. And I did like The Good Dinosaur, but The Good Dinosaur was nowhere near as good as Onward was. Onward had jokes that they had. What blew my mind was the setup in this film. There would be setups throughout the film sprinkled in from the first act, and then it either pays off in the second act and definitely in the third act. And it blew my mind. There is a scene with Guinevere, the van that Barley's van. And he says he fixed it up and he has the AC, he fixed up the AC, and it's just like this big, powerful, just burst of coldness on you. And then that pays off throughout the film. There is a lot of sprinkled things in this film that just pays off wonderfully. I think this is a really smart script. I think the jokes land. I think the chemistry of not only the brothers, but the mother too, and a lot of different characters that are sprinkled in this film works. It's sad to see that this film just did not make the money it has. It's gotten a second life. Of course, they did release it for demand if you want to buy the film. But of course, now at this time of recording, it's now on Disney Plus, which is a plus. I think a lot of people are going to watch this. And I love the story of how the director, this is basically his story and how he wasn't able to meet his father as well. And there's a part in the film when I heard the interview and I heard about his story about how, he lost his dad and he only had a recording of him. It was simply his dad recording hello and goodbye. And there's one part in the movie with Ian that has that similar, that same, basically the director, the same story, and it's played off a little bit longer, but fantastic. fantastic. And then I cannot gush over about the ending so much. I'm not going to spoil anything. I think you need to watch this film, and the ending is probably one of the best endings I've seen in a movie for a very, very long time. It was satisfying. It made sense. It brought the whole movie together. Now, the music, the score is not as memorable as, let's say, one of my favorite Pixar movies, or is my favorite Pixar movie, is Ratatouille. Ratatouille's score is phenomenal. It makes you want to cook. It makes you want to move. It really brings that world. It's like Star Wars with John Williams, but with Ratatouille in that score. As for Onward score, it's subtle. It's very, very subtle. But if you do take a listen to it, it's a very good score. I did like a lot of moments with the father and, him having to communicate with his boys, but with his feet, and vice versa. I think the only gripe I have with the film is there's some characters that come in and they kind of get left on the wayside. There is the fact that there's a stepdad in the film, that's dating the mom. And I thought he was in the film, and you could see he had a good heart, but there was really no stepdad and the boys kind of like coming together in the film, which was, I think, just a lost opportunity right there. I wanted to like the stepdad, and I didn't hate him necessarily, but I didn't overly like him because I just felt like they needed they needed a little heart, string with him and the boys, because the boys in the film, they don't necessarily hate the stepdad, but they don't like it seems like they don't like the idea of him dating the mom. Now, the mom in the film, bravo. Every time you see a mom in like one of these movies, she's either kicked by the wayside, she's not really doing anything, she's calling for help, but she takes charge in this film. And then the hookup with her and the Manticore in the film is awesome. I like the dynamic duo they have. There's a lot of great simple scenes in this film, but that really work. And the lore of a lot of these things, like the Pixies are really, they're not friendly. They're not portrayed friendly in the lore of a lot of the mythologies. And they play that well here. This movie is definitely up there with one of my favorite Pixar movies because it all comes together. It's a simple story, yet smart writing that leads to a great finale. I could watch this film over and over again. And actually, my son really loves this film. He will stand there and watch it. We had it on Disney Plus last night, and he was just cuddled and watching this film. This is another film that, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I think kids are going to be engaged with. And I think knowing that, man, I didn't think this film was going to hit me that hard, but it did. And I give kudos to the director. I give kudos to the voice acting. I mean, the voice acting was phenomenal too. I really loved Chris Pratt and Tom Holland's chemistry with one another. You really felt like they were really brothers. Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt. He'll always be like Andy to me in Parks and Rec, because that dude is such a lovable goofball, and he brings that to Barley. And Barley is, in my eyes, kind of like, I could reflect to Barley. He's kind of like me. And I think a lot at the end of this film, I said that a lot of people are going to relate to this film one way or another. There's people who have lost loved ones and haven't seen them, and they want maybe that one moment to at least meet this person that, they called either dad or mom or grandpa. There's also the brother connection. Everybody, or the sister and brother, family, siblings. There's that heartwarming, I've been there I'm right here, I'm right here. You're my brother, you're my sister, like that kind of connection. There's a family element to a lot of this film. There is I think it brings, I know it's corny to say, I think it brings the magic back into originality, into just like there is one particular scene that actually generally made me laugh really hard. And it had to do with Guinevere. And there was horse noises. If you don't know what Guinevere is, it's the van that Barley has. And there's like a Pegasus on there. It's a horse. It's a fantastic scene. And there's a lot of consequences in this film too, or a lot of sacrifices, I should say. So if you haven't seen Onward, I highly, highly recommend this film. This film is, I know a lot of people maybe feel that it just was too generic because it is a very simple plot. But this film delivers in all cylinders. There is a lot to love here, character-wise, smart writing, score. I can't say anything bad about this film because I've seen this movie 3 times and I have enjoyed it 3 straight times. So not necessarily too much of a review, but more of a discussion. If you've seen Onward, let me know down in the bottom in the comments if you loved it or you did not, and tell me the reasons why you didn't like it, because I think this movie should have made, if any Disney movie that came out, this movie should have made a lot of money. It deserved to make a lot of money. But since it didn't, don't expect any sequels. But this movie doesn't need a sequel. This is like another Ratatouille where it's good, one shot, you're good, you're done, like Coco. But man, this is definitely probably my top 5 Pixar movies of all time. So thank you for listening, guys. If you would like subscribe to the channel. There will be more reviews, more discussions on films, especially a lot of films that have come out this year and last year we'll be discussing. So hit that like button and enjoy the rest of your day. This is Dan the Man Reviews, and I am out.